Okay. Hello folks, it is I, Napalm, and we're gonna do another showcase on the Batman Arkham game. This time we're gonna go with Arkham Origins. I was gonna do Arkham Knight, the black, gray and black icon. Well, pretty much like, I feel like I've done all the ones that I've like personally liked, the suits, and the rest of them are literally kind of almost the same, to be honest. Like, you have the Dark Knight, I'm sorry, I'm just like, I ate something, it's just like kind of feels like it wants to come back up. But I feel like The Dark Knight Returns, the iconic one, the classic black and gray, they're all pretty much the same. The only difference is just like the belts and how it's like detailed in the capes and stuff like that, but they're pretty much the same, to be honest. So I just thought, I don't want to do that. So I thought I'd come back to a game that's probably overlooked and probably like everyone's least favorite, and I could actually see why. And I've gone over this before in a previous Arkham Knight showcase, is because this game Arkham Origins, like, it had a lot of bugs, to be honest. It was clearly unfinished in some points, or they not unfinished, but they just didn't. They really didn't do their homework in terms of like checking for bugs or just like glitches or just I don't know. It really didn't. I don't know. I don't know how to say. I really should have reviewed this, but there was just a lot of bad things going on for this game. Not the game itself, like campaign and story mode, but just like, for an example, like for the PS3, I remember I bought like almost a year ago now. I bought a PS3 recently, and I bought Arkham Origins for the CD physical copy, only for $5. And I put it in, and it gets to the Blackgate part where you're just learning how to fight, and the game crashes and it says the disc is unreadable. So I look online and it turns out that that happened to a lot of people for the PS3 physical copy. So yeah, it sucked, but I wasn't so mad about it because it was just $5 compared to had I bought it back way when it first came out. Um, if it were like what, $60. So I not a big not a big loss for me. So I go on the PS3 store and buy like the a digital version, and luckily it was working without any problems, so I was happy with that. But also there was just a lot of things going on, like in terms of bugs and glitches. There's a lot of bugs that I did notice though. And the another one was just the fact of completing the challenges though. That would be these right here. And the thing about that is just like you had to complete them in like specific areas, and then you can only those areas you can only do them once in terms of the campaign. You couldn't complete them in challenge mode, which sucks, so it made it a lot harder. And that was to unlock the worst Nightmare costume. And at the time when the game first came out, it was the Nightmare version of Batman, when Joker's going through therapy with Harley Quinn, and you see like the Nightmare version of Batman, which will actually look really cool. But they took it down because there was like a lot of issues with how the costume was moving, it was glitching out, and all sorts of things. But I looked at the videos, and it honestly wasn't as bad for a good reason to take the costume down. And instead, they replaced it with literally the default suit, but they just painted black. So I thought that was pretty stupid. That was just a half-assed job. They called it the Dark Knight suit, which I thought was gonna look like the Christian Bale one, but when I put it on, it looked nothing like it. It literally was just the default suit, just painted black. So a lot of people were upset about that, and they were just upset that they went through all that work just for this crap. So yeah. But aside from that, aside from the flaws that it had, like the bugs and just all the things that went wrong, like even the fact that from what I last saw that I think they shut down multiplayer. I think for the PS3. Okay, that's what I heard. Someone said that they're still able to play multiplayer, so it even gives me the option to play online. So maybe that part isn't true. Maybe it's still that thing is still running. But aside from like the bugs, the crashes, the difficulty in trying to get all the challenges in one go, I still think this is actually a pretty good game. It was like the story was pretty good. I really like the characters, even like the new voices though. If it wasn't like the traditional Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, I actually liked the voices that they chose for Batman and the Joker. I really like the Joker one, Troy Baker. He did a really good job with it. So yeah, I think I think a personal complaint of mine was just the fact that they didn't have a lot of good variety in terms of suits. they did have a lot, but like one, like you had to buy the DLC or like a pact in order to get the suits, and two, it just wasn't a good variety, to be honest. It wasn't anything great or spectacular. It was just like, oh, okay, these suits are great, but they could have done better. So for this video, this showcase, I'm going to do the Batman Gotham by Gaslight, I think that's what it's called. And if most of you know, like recently, like maybe like a month ago already, a DVD came out, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, or I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. But yeah, recently, like a video that came out, it's like where Batman is back in the, I forgot what era it is, like what year, but I know that it's during the era of Jack the Ripper, so that's kind of really cool. So it incorporates Batman in the Victorian era. Yeah, there we go, Victorian era. And you know, he's Batman during that era, and I think he's gonna take down Jack the Ripper. He's finding out who he is. I never seen the movie myself. Honestly, I wasn't really so much interested in that after like the disappointment of the Killing Joke. That one was, I don't know, and just personally, I didn't really like the Killing Joke. I mean, a lot of people are gonna think that I'm like fucking stupid or something. It was like, what are you talking about? The Killing Joke is phenomenal, and I was like, okay, it's pretty good. But just in personal taste, I don't think it's like, oh, it's the greatest one, you know, that I can read over and over and over again. I just think, oh, it's pretty good, you know. Just not really a personal favorite of mine that I could call phenomenal. I personally like The Long Halloween. That one was pretty good. That one I could definitely read over and over again. I really hope one of these days they decide to make a Long Halloween animated feature. Just hopefully they just don't mess up. Hopefully they just closely stick to the source material rather than go off on like the first 30 minutes on something that has nothing to do with the comics. They did that with the Killing Joke, if you've seen it. Literally it's just like Barbara Gordon, like for the first 30 minutes, like her life, and then she has sex with Batman, which I really didn't like. That was totally off character. I mean, they do have a romance in the comics at some point, but I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like the whole Batman and Barbara Gordon romance at all, to be honest. So I was a little disappointed by that. But aside from that, I never saw the movie, but I know like years ago they were actually planning on doing a Gotham by Gaslight video game, actually. And I don't know the full source for that, but there is gameplay footage of like an early footage of that game, and it looked pretty good, actually. Well, not really. But like it was just in the early stages. An example, it's literally just Batman in this suit, but he's walking around like the Victorian era streets of London, and he's just like on a building, and then he's just dropping down and just creeping around. He's not really doing much, but that would have been a cool thing to see. So, but unfortunately it was scrapped, like it was never made. So I think they just canceled it, or just like it was one of those really good games that they just canceled it halfway through. There was a lot of good games that they canceled. Like one of them that I was really upset was Star Wars 1313, and that was going to follow the journey of Boba Fett when he was young, when he was barely got to know his name, you know, to be the infamous bounty hunter. So that would have been a really great game. It was going to be like Uncharted, where like, you know, you could climb stuff, parkour. If you haven't seen the gameplay demo, definitely watch it, so you could see and cry what could have been a really good Star Wars game. I don't think they really have many of the good Star Wars installments recently, so it's one of those where, yeah, what could have been, maybe in an alternate universe, you know, Star Wars 1313 was made, so yeah, whatever. But yeah, this suit's pretty good. I think it's okay, but honestly, like, the only thing, like, I definitely want to do maybe another walkthrough of this game, perhaps, but it will only be for the Adam West suit, and that you can only get for the PS3 suit. A lot of people have been emailing me, like, or messaging me that, like, you can get the Nightfall suit in the PC version. Well, I mean, maybe you can, but I couldn't. Like, I literally, like, looked all over Steam, all over the other places, like, how you could get it, because I didn't want to have to buy a PS3, but I really couldn't find it, so, oh well. Lucky you whoever can play the Nightfall suit on the PC version, but I can't, so ugh. But I definitely want to do the Adam West one. That's actually a really cool one. I like it. But other than that, there's like the suits that are in here is just not enough for me to make a full walkthrough, so I think I would just be doing one more. And yeah. Oh shoot. Shoot. Alright, I'm kind of fudging up, but it's kind of hard to play while you talk, so I'm trying to make this as bearable as I can. I was gonna talk about something else. Oh yes. So there's Gotham by Gaslight. I don't know how the ratings did for that movie. I'm not sure if it did so well, or I don't know. I just noticed that maybe I think the only thing that I read about that movie was the animation. It wasn't so great. It was just it was okay. And I gotta say the same thing for The Killing Joke. The Killing Joke animation, the art style, it really wasn't that great. It wasn't really that impressive. It was like really simple and not what I would hoped it would be for that specific graphic novel. I mean, for that one, it was like very detailed, very gruesome. You know, if you haven't read it, you know, read it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. For like the animation that they decided to go for that movie, for that that story, it really, I didn't really think it fit. They definitely could have done better. It was just too plain, too simple. I don't know. It just didn't fit well. Oh shoot. And I think people said the same thing about Gotham by Gaslight. But I can't say it. I'll just call it Gaslight or whatever. That movie. I'll just say that. It's a mouthful to say it. And there's another movie that I wanted to talk about, which was Batman and Harley. That movie I did not watch at all. I don't know, but I remember watching it on Instagram. It was just like a little preview. And there was just Bruce Timm, you know, talking about how he was working on Batman and Harley. And it showed a little preview sample of, you know, Batman, Nightwing, and Harley riding in the Batmobile. And it had Harley's voice, and I did not like it at all. It's the girl who voices Harley Quinn in this movie is the girl from The Big Bang Theory. I don't know her name. I don't watch the show, but I was not convinced. I didn't like it. And a lot of people felt the same way. And I just knew that it wasn't going to do good. And it didn't do good, honestly. Like, I think maybe it did okay, but it was just definitely out of character. Like, it had, like, Batman dancing at some point. Well, not dancing, but he was just... he just did not... He was completely out of character, to be honest, so... it was just really cringy to me. Like, there was like one part where, like, you know, they're driving in the Batmobile and she just starts farting because she had buffalo wings, and yeah, it's really kiddish. I just gotta warn you. Watch it if you want to. It's just not gonna fulfill your Batman. It's not gonna be like anything you've seen. It's gonna be really campy. It's gonna be really kiddie. Like, there's a musical number that Harley Quinn does. She sings Blondie's Hanging on the Telephone, and it's just really cringy, to be honest. I didn't like it, so... And then I just luckily saw a clip on YouTube, so that saved me the trouble. Like, alright, well, I'm not going to watch this on DVD. I'm not going to bother renting it or buying it. So, yeah. Save yourself the money. I mean, watch a few clips, and if you're able to get through it without cringing so much or wincing in terms of pain, definitely give the video a shot. Other than that, don't watch it. It's a movie you can skip. What else do I want to talk about? I don't know. I mean, I do want to kind of talk about, like, the Batman comics, like, recently, right now, that they've been releasing. I can't talk for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, like, so far, like, the Batman Rebirth comics with Tom King, I've honestly been kind of disappointed in it. I mean, it's not really meeting my expectations. I gotta say, like, the first arc, I Am Gotham, a lot of people didn't like, but I honestly liked it. I don't know, it was something different, and it was, I don't know, I, for some reason, really liked it. And funny thing is, like, a lot of people liked the War on Jokes and Riddles, but I didn't like that one, though. just, I don't know. It just they it was just too long, I gotta say. They stretched that up for too long, and just like the climax, like the ending of just how it ended was like really stupid. I didn't like it. I mean, again, it's Riddler who's the main bad guy, and I'm like, really, really. And I don't know if you guys have noticed that, like me mentioning of how I felt about Hush. I didn't like that. I didn't like that story either because it was just the story was just not good. I don't care if it, like, you know, the graph, like the end. I can't talk. Why can't I talk? I don't care, like, if the artwork is, well, I kind of do care, to be honest. I don't care, like, the artwork is bad or not that great or smooth. As long as it has a good story, I'll really be interested in that. Actually, I lied. I shouldn't say that. Like, the artwork definitely does matter. I'm thinking about this one. I don't know if I mentioned or talked about it, but, like, I think I have, but I'll mention it again for the sake of it. If you haven't seen the previous showcases, but there is one comic series called The Beauty, and it's when you become beautiful through a sexually transmitted disease that makes you beautiful, but in a matter of months you die from an implosion in your body, and that's what The Beauty is. There was the second arc, where the first arc was really good. The artwork I really liked because it was the guy who did the Constantine artwork, and those were really phenomenal. Constantine Rebirth, I believe. Not the very, very, very first one, though. Those were, like, done by someone else. And the artwork was really, really good. I really liked it. It definitely fit the setting of the comic series at the time. But, like, they went with the second arc where it was just, like, completely new characters, and I just didn't like it. And it was, like, kind of, in terms for me, like, really bad that I honestly could, like I'll just, like, spill the beans on, like, the second arc, but, like, there's, like, a person who's transgender. He's I'm trying to think. Yeah, he's a guy, but, you know, like, he, like, you know, believes he's a woman, though. Like, he chooses to be a woman. Like, I don't know how to specifically phrase that. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but, like, you know, like, he's a man, but, you know, he's a woman, though. Alright, so I'll just say he's a man who believes that who's trapped. Well, I don't really, like, I'm just trying to, I don't know how to say that, honestly, because, like, I know that's a really big topic, and I'm trying to be really careful of how I say it, though, like, he believes he's a woman trapped in a man's body. There we go, that's good. I'm not trying to offend anyone, I'm not saying anything negative about it, but I'm trying to choose the right words for that, honestly. And I'm trying to be as really good as I can. So anyways, he feels like he's a woman trapped in that phrase, you know. He doesn't say it in the arc series, like, I'm a woman trapped in a man's body, but it's just like that. So but the artwork was, like, so bad that I honestly didn't know that he was a guy. I thought it was a girl. And it wasn't until, like, later in the middle of the arc where it's just like, I don't care if, you know, if you're transgender. And I'm like, oh, he was a guy? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know that. I kind of got a hint of it, though, like, in the first quarter, though, because just, like, I need, like, my hormone pills, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a bit odd. And then it was in the middle of the arc when he says, I don't care if you're transgender. I'm like, oh, shoot, I didn't know that. Like, maybe if they would have done a better job with the artwork, I would have known, but it just wasn't that good. I probably shouldn't be talking about this. Like, again, like I'm saying, not trying to offend anyone, not, like, I wasn't even saying anything negative about it, but I was just like, it's like, you really gotta choose your words wisely for that. But yeah, like, artwork really does matter, you know, because you definitely want the good facial expressions, or just like to tell what a person is. And you definitely want the right type of artist to properly depict the tone of a comic, and I felt like they failed with that in The Killing Joke, and yeah. Silence. But yeah, artwork definitely is a big factor in the comic series, and I think they did that really well with The Long Halloween. It definitely had that noir vibe, and it was the same for Dark Victory. That is a really good comic book. I would suggest you all read as well. Those are two good comics that are definitely my favorites. Those two. I really like the artwork. I really like the story that it was in. Dark Victory is the sequel to The Long Halloween, and it introduces Robin. I honestly forgot how Dark Victor. I gotta read those two books actually. I think a friend of mine has it, and I gotta ask for them back. But they're really one of my all-time favorites. Another good one is The Black Mirror, which, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Scott Snyder, but that one was a really good one. And I heard that Scott Snyder is going to be doing the Justice League, and you know, as long as it's not Batman. I mean, if he's going to do the Justice League, I have high hopes for that then. And also, like, it's going to be done by one of this artist, George Jimenez, which is a really good artist, I gotta say. He's actually the main reason I started reading Super Sons. And Super Sons is also a really good comic series as well that you should definitely check out. I think Volume 2 is already out, so, you know, if you're not the person who goes out and collects each issue individually, definitely pick up the volumes. They're really definitely worth the read. The art style is really good. George Jimenez stops doing the artwork for Super Sons, I think, in issue 10, and that I was really sad about that. I really like his artwork. But that's all I gotta say about this. You know, I think I'm done walking around as oh shit, walking around as this Batman. So, anyways, that's all I got, guys. Thank you again for watching. Leave a like, comment, and if you're new, subscribe. And if you want me to do a specific suit showcase. Can't talk, I don't know why. Just leave a comment to let me know ahead of time. Anyways, that's Napalm. Catch you later. Shit, I'll turn it off. It's really hard to turn this off because I have to push 2 buttons and it always doesn't always work. So this is actually awkward.